Hello, Algebra 2. Today we're going to be talking about Section 2, Day 1, Vertex Form and Key Features of a Quadratic. So let's remember a couple things about quadratic function, and we're starting off with vertex form. So vertex form of a quadratic is what we've been working on, f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And the vertex is h comma k. So if this is minus h, then h is the x value of the vertex. The graph is called a parabola, so don't forget that. And the parent function is x squared. So let's focus on some key features real quick. So we've got the vertex. That's one of the most important points of a quadratic, because without it, we don't really get the shape. So the vertex is the turning point of the parabola. The axis of symmetry so that is the vertical line that goes through the middle of your parabola forming a mirror image on either side. The minimum or maximum and it's or because you can only have one, not both, which makes sense, right? Because we're either going to be facing upwards or facing downwards. So the lowest or highest point of your parabola. And then the domain and range. So we've really done all of these. It should be a review. So domain are the x values that exist for the parabola. The range are the y values that exist for the parabola. So a lot of this is a review, and we are going to still be graphing, which you should remember from the last chapter. I guess 2 chapters ago, 1A. But we will be adding on and building to these concepts. So let's just do one example. Identify the key features of the quadratic function. F of x equals negative x plus 4 squared minus 5. Alright, let's do it. So the vertex is going to be h comma k, so that's going to be negative 4 comma negative 5. Okay, the axis of symmetry so that's the vertical line, right, that goes right through the parabola, so that's going to go through the vertex, so that's just going to be x equals whatever the x value of the vertex is. Minimum or maximum. So I know that this is going to have a maximum because it's reflected, right? So because there's a negative, that means it's going to be facing upside down. I mean, did I say minimum? Because it's reflected, it's going to have a maximum, so there's no minimum. The domain. So because it's a parabola, it's going to go on infinitely, so negative infinity to infinity. And the range, because it's reflected, is going to go from negative infinity to the max, which is at the vertex, so the y value is the highest point. And that's it. Now, I did all of that in my head, which you guys should be able to do, but if that's a little bit challenging, something you can do is like a little sketch. So I'm not even going to make it that accurate. It's literally going to be a sketch. So I could draw a little graph and go, okay, I know that our x value is going to be at negative 4. I'm going to call this negative 4. And I'm going to call this negative 5. So my vertex would be here. Because it's reflected, my graph will look something like this. And that's just a nice visual to help you. So, okay, my vertex is here. My axis of symmetry, and you'd be like, okay, that's the line that goes through the vertex. You could just draw a little picture, right? And so that's x equals whatever that x value is, so negative 4. Maximum, well, it's reflected, so that's why we have a max. No min, make sure you say that. It's not going to be infinity because it keeps going, so it doesn't have a minimum. It keeps going forever. The domain, this is going to get wider and wider and wider, so it's negative infinity to infinity. And the range, because it's going down, will only go up until negative 5. So when in doubt, you can always sketch a little picture. And we'll practice this more in class.